What's going on, guys? It's your man Saxton 714 here. It's Sunday, so I'm bringing you another sermon. We're going to try to skip the music this time. I think it's taking more time off of the sermon part. Plus, we're going to see how you guys like it. Comment in the link below, in the description below. Tell me if you like it or not. Send me a message on Facebook at Matt Saxton. Let me know if you like it better this way or if you want to hear the music. It maybe just shorten the time of the music up. But my wife says I talk too much in these videos in the beginning and stuff, so we're just going to get right into it. And as you know, on Sundays, I do not take any donations. We donate to a charity. So this week's charity is MAP International. www.map.org is their website. MAP International, what they do is they send medicine all around the world to those who do not have the medicine and they don't have any way of getting it, to help children or help anybody overcome the illnesses so they can live longer, be healthier. 99.30 of your percent of your donation goes towards the cause of MAP International. That's, like I said, that's what I donate to, is these higher ones that I know where my money is going. I might lose 10 cents, but what's 10 cents? Please donate to them. Their link will be in the description below. If you can, if you have the funds, I'm sure they appreciate it. I know I appreciate it. But let's get on with the sermon. This week's sermon is on merciful. And God is merciful. Jesus is merciful. And you will find that out throughout this lesson, that is 100% true. Actually, right below the merciful thing there, right below, where it says, where the little symbol is, the Lord your God is a merciful God, in Deuteronomy 4:31. That's small for me to read on your screen. I'm sure it's really small to read, so I'll just read it out loud for you. Please go in there and know that whoever makes these, I do not make these. I am not a graphics designer. I can do some things, but I'm not perfect. Like the thumbnails you see from my videos, I do them. But as far as making these cool designs and stuff like this, I can't draw. So if you see your design in one of my videos, thank you so much for letting me use it. And hopefully, I'm not making any money off of this, so hopefully you don't mind that I'm using this for just like a scripture reading. But how did everybody's morning go? I went to church, got a good lesson today at the church I go to, very good, made me feel very good, and actually motivated me to do this as it does every Sunday. Hopefully you guys went to church, and if not, hopefully you come here and at least get a little bit of a lesson, or a little bit of scripture reading in. And we're going into the Old Testament to show you how merciful God is and Jesus is. But in the Old Testament, we are starting with Genesis. I made where I'm reading from bigger down below so that anybody with glasses or anything can read it, so that they can read it, so they know where to follow me in the Bible. And actually, I'm going to move myself, if I can get a hold of myself. I didn't think. Move myself down here. I was playing last night, so you guys can read more of the screen. I didn't realize I was in the way, so move myself down so you can read more of the text. But this is in Genesis 18:21 through 26 and 28 through 33. And what's going on here, I'll give you a little backstory real quick, is God is going towards Sodom and Gomorrah. He's just got done telling Sarah that she's going to have a child, and he is now taking him and the angels with him too. I think they were angels, just the two guys that were with him, towards Sodom and Gomorrah to pass judgment. And he was wondering if he should show Abraham. And everybody knows the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. If you take any history lesson, I think it's one of the most well-known stories in the Bible that most people know in the Old Testament, besides Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel and the flood. Then there's Sodom and Gomorrah, then King David slew the giant, and most of them stories, it's in the realm of them. But Abraham actually argues to save Sodom and Gomorrah because Lot, who I think is his nephew, if I'm wrong there, please see me in person and tell me. I might be wrong, but I know he's in relationship with Abraham. He is in Sodom and Gomorrah with his wife and his kids, and they actually take the angels in their house when the people try to get to know them. And in Sodom and Gomorrah, there was sinning going on, which everybody knows of. There was adultery, there was killing, there was thievery, there was homosexuality, there was all kinds of sins going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. And Abraham actually tries to talk God down, and actually speaks to God in a way that I don't think anybody has besides Moses, which you'll find out in the next slide. So let's get into this. Genesis 18:21 through 26, and then 28 through 33. I skipped 27 because I wanted it to fit on one page, just so everybody knows. But in Genesis 18:21, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know. And the men turned their faces from thence and went toward Sodom. But Abraham stood yet before the Lord. And Abraham drew near and said, Wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Peradventure, which makes it say, What if there be 50 righteous within the city? Wilt thou also destroy and not spare the place for 50 righteous that are therein, basically that live there? That be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous shall be as the wicked, that be far from thee. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? You imagine, you're up there with God, I'm up there with God. There is no way I am going to speak up to God. Abraham had enough, as Vince McMahon would say in wrestling, grapefruits, to speak up and say, listen, you can't do this. So if there's 100 people and 50 righteous, and there are 50 righteous and 50 wicked, you're just going to destroy the righteous just because of the bad ones? Basically, who cares what the good's doing? Destroy the bad ones. You're just going to destroy it all because of a couple bad ones? He said, that's not right. How can you do that? You should judge right. You should destroy them 50 bad ones. You shouldn't destroy any of it. When something happens to them, then just take care of them. Leave the righteous ones alone. You know, Abraham's arguing, which I've never heard anybody do besides Moses. I don't know if I could have done it. Abraham did it. But the Lord answers him. And the Lord said, If I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sake. He says, all right then, if I find 50, I'll save it. But that's not good enough for Abraham. Abraham says, Well, peradventure there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous. Wilt thou destroy all the city for the lack of 5? And he said, If I find there 45, which is 40 and 5, I will not destroy it. And he spake unto him yet again, and said, Peradventure there shall be 40 found there. And he said, I will not do it for 40's sake. So basically, Abraham's testing him. How far can I get him to go? Because he knows Lot's there. He knows Lot's going to be righteous. He's trying to see how far he can get him to go. And he said unto him, Oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak. Peradventure there shall be 30 be found there. And he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. Basically, if I find 30 good people, I'll save Sodom and Gomorrah. And 31. And he said, Behold now, I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord. Peradventure there shall be 20 found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 20's sake. So he's like, okay. Then Abraham pushes some more. Abraham doesn't give up here. And he said, Oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak yet but this once. Peradventure 10 shall be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 10's sake. So he went from 50 to 10 people. That's 40. That's a 40-person difference. That's a lot. And the Lord must have had enough there and said, okay, I'm not going no lower. Because in 33 it states, And the Lord went his way, and as soon as he left, communing with Abraham, and Abraham returned to his place. So he must have really been like, you know what, that's it. I'm not going no lower. 10's enough. If they can't find 10, I don't know what to do. And we all know what happened with Sodom and Gomorrah. He did not find the 10, I guess, and Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed. Lot ran away. His wife turned to a pillar of salt. But let's keep going. I'm not going to babble on as my wife says, but I do. We're in Exodus now. And what has happened here, a little backstory here. I'm going to give a backstory to everything I tell. In Exodus, Moses has been on the mountain. They've been writing the 10 Commandments. While he's been on the mountain, the people think Moses has been killed or been punished. So they get worried. We need to worship somebody who saved us from Egypt. So they tell Aaron. Aaron melts some earrings down. The golden calf comes out. So they worship this golden calf and say, this is the God that brought us out of Egypt, is this golden calf. Which you'll find out here. And the Lord wants to kill them all. The Lord tells Moses, I'm killing all these people, giving you all new people. But they're not good enough. I'll just get rid of them all. And Moses actually argues for the people. Even though they belittled him, all the way to this point, they have told Moses, listen, you have not given us enough food. You have not given us enough water. You brought us out here to die. Why did you bring us out here? It would have been better if we had stayed in Egypt. They've told Moses this over and over, and Moses still argues for them. But let's read it. You can read it for yourself in Exodus 32, 7 and 14. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go, get thee down, for thy people which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them, and they have made them a molten calf, and have worshipped it, and have sanctified thereunto, and said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt. And the Lord said unto Moses, I have seen these people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people, which means they're stubborn. Now, therefore, let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make of thee a great nation. Basically, as he says there, I'll get rid of them and give you more people. And Moses besought to the Lord his God, and said, Lord, why doth thy wrath wax hot against thy people, which thou hast brought forth out of the land of Egypt with great power and with a mighty hand? Basically, why are you mad at these people that you just saved? You just put all this effort into saving these people, now you're wanting to kill them. And then Moses says, Wherefore should the Egyptians speak and say, For mischief did he bring them out, to slay them in the mountains, and to consume them from the face of the earth. Turn from thy fierce wrath, and repent of this evil against thy people. This is the only other person I know that has told the Lord, listen, don't do this. You need to think about this before you do this. And he's stating, and he's right. They go out there, God wipes them all out. The Egyptians are going to say, look, just stay here and be slaves. Look what happened to the other people that left. They said God was going to save them. They let Moses, this guy named Moses, take them out of there. Moses took them out of there, and guess what? He destroyed them. They all died. He killed them all. So what's better, for you to go die out there or be slaves here and live until you're old and die? And then he tried to convince him some more. Remember, Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, thy servants, to whom thou swearest by thy own self, and saidst unto them, I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and all this land that I have spoken of will I give unto your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. And the Lord repented of the evil which he had thought to do unto his people. The Lord's like, yeah, I guess you're right. But after this, he tells Moses to take care of it. Moses goes down, breaks the tablet, screams at Aaron, screams at everybody. And then a lot of things happen after this. I'm going to do another sermon on that. But it is a very good read if anybody wants to read it. But let's move on to the next one. In this one, this is the walls of Jericho, the great walls of Jericho that fell. And this shows how merciful God is, because there was an adulteress in this house that actually held these spies and actually saved these spies from being captured in Jericho, the walls of Jericho. Out to Shittim, I think it's called Shittim. I think it's how it's called. Excuse my language, but I think that's what it's called. They sent them out of there and go to the land, even in Jericho, as you'll read here. And basically they need to hide because they know they're in there. They're like, hey, there's two guys spying. We need to find them. So they call it a harlot's house. They go into like this harlot's house, and they go in there, and back in those days you were stoned to death for that. And God, that was in the original commandments. But they basically they basically begged these men to not do this, and beg and said that they feared their God and that they repented of all this. And I think they've repented, but I know they said they fear him, and he basically saved them. So we'll read here to show you how merciful this is, because back then you were supposed to be stoned for this type of behavior. So in Joshua 2, 1 through 11, and Joshua the son of Nun sent out of Shittim, so he sent them out of Shittim, 2 men to spy secretly, saying, Go view the land, even Jericho. And they went and came into an harlot's house named Rahab, and lodged there. And it was told to the king of Jericho, saying, Behold, there came men in hither tonight of the children of Israel to search out the country, basically to spy. They're coming in to spy, just like any other country now that we go into spy, and they're going to get in trouble and executed and probably killed. And the king of Jericho sent out to Rahab, saying, Bring forth the men that are come to thee, which are entered into thine house, for they be come to search out all the country. We know you're keeping spies. Where are they? We want them. And the woman took the 2 men and hid them, and said thus, There came men unto me, but I wist not whence they were. Excuse me. And basically, she's like, there's 2 men that came in. I don't know where they went or who they are. And it came to pass about the time of the shutting of the gate, when it was dark, that the men went out. Whether the men went, I I wot not. Pursued after them quickly, for ye shall overtake them. So basically, go find them, because they're not far from here. As soon as they come passing the gate, they left. They left as soon as it got dark. Go find them. They couldn't have gone far. But I didn't chase them. I didn't know what they were doing. But she had brought them up to the roof of the house and hid them with stalks of flax, which she had laid in order upon the roof. And the men pursued after them the way to Jordan unto the fords. And as soon as they which pursued after them were gone out, they shut the gate. And before they were laid down, she came up unto them upon the roof, and she said unto the men, I know that the Lord hath given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. Now how did she know the Lord has given them the land? I don't know if she's heard it. I don't know if the Lord came to her. I don't know if the Lord told her. If it was in the beginning, like in Joshua 1, I must have missed it. So if anybody knows that, you can comment down below or educate me when you see me. For we have heard, well, I guess this is how it is. For we have heard the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when ye came out of Egypt, what ye did unto the two kings of the Amorites, which they defeated them, that were on the other side of the Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom ye utterly destroyed. And as soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt, neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you. For the Lord your God, He is God in heaven above and in earth beneath. So she's basically admitting this is God, and we need to follow His rules. So we'll keep going in Joshua 2, 12 through 15. Now therefore I pray, swear unto me by the Lord, since I have showed you kindness, that you also show kindness unto my father's house, and give me a true token, and that ye will save alive my father, my mother, my brethren, and my sisters, and all that they have, and deliver our lives from death. And the man answered her, Our life for yours. If ye utter not, this is our business, and it shall be, when the Lord hath given us the land, that we will deal kindly and truly with thee. Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was upon the town wall, and she dwelt upon the wall. Basically saying, listen, you save our life, we'll save yours. They're making a deal, knowing that she's a harlot, knowing that she has now feared the Lord, that maybe she might change her ways. The Lord is being merciful to her, because He is telling her to keep these people. And when Joshua does take the city, as you will see, in Joshua 6, 16 through 17, 22 through 23, and then 25. Like I said, the dashes are direct in a row, and the commas, they're skips in the verses. So Joshua 6, 16. And it came to pass at the seventh time, when the priest blew with the trumpets, Joshua said unto the people, Shout, the Lord hath given you the city, and the city shall be accursed, even in it, and all that are therein to the Lord. Only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that are with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. When Joshua had said unto the two men that had spied out the country, Go into the harlot's house, and bring out thence the woman and all that she hath, as ye swear unto her. Basically, don't go back on your word. She helped us, let's help her. And the young men that were spies went in and brought out Rahab and her father and her mother and her brethren and all that she had. And they had brought out all her kindred, and left them without the camp of Israel. And Joshua saved Rahab the harlot alive, and her father's household, and all that she had. And she dwelleth in Israel even to this day, because she hid the messengers which Joshua sent to spy out Jericho. Changed her life around. The Lord showed her compassion. Back in the day, if you were a harlot, you were to be stoned to death. And people might say, well, wait a minute. Excuse me. Joshua showed her kindness. No. Joshua did not. Joshua knew that the Lord was with her to help him. So he put faith in the Lord that He is going to do right. And that's what he did, and she was forgiven, and the Lord was merciful. The Lord didn't have her save them, and then as soon as they brought down the walls of Jericho, got the city, say, hey, she's a harlot, destroy her now. He let all that go because of her kindness and because He's a merciful God. And now we're going to go on to Jonah. And in Jonah, what has happened here is in Jonah actually runs away from the Lord here. He runs away. He's like, I want nothing to do with you anymore. I want nothing to do with you, and you're not changing my mind. So he tells the Lord basically, F you, I'm leaving. So he leaves. I mean, sorry for my language, but that's how he basically said, I quit, I'm done. So he walks away, but the Lord doesn't let him walk away. And while he's in the belly, everybody knows of Jonah and the whale, or Jonah the great fish. While he's in the belly of the fish, he realizes how wrong he is, and the Lord is merciful and forgives him. But let's read where he goes away in Jonah 1 through 4. And now the word of the Lord came unto Jonah, the son of Amittai, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, the great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness is come up before me. But Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord, and went down to Joppa, and he found a ship going to Tarshish, so he paid the fare, so he even paid to get away thereof, and went down into it to go with them unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. Basically said, I'll pay to get away. But the Lord sent out a great wind in the sea, and there was mighty tempest in the sea, so that the ship was like to be broken. More story into this. These guys found out, you're a prophet of the Lord. Why is this happening to us? Make this stop. He realizes it's his fault. He tells them, throw me off the boat then. I'd rather die. Just throw me off the boat. So they do. They throw him off the boat, and then the fish swallows him. What you read here in Jonah 15. So they took up Jonah and cast him forth into the sea, and the sea ceased from her raging. And then in verse 17, now the Lord had prepared a great fish to swallow up Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Which he said, I'm sorry, I screwed up, please forgive me. But you'll read here in Jonah 2, 1 through 2, and in verse 10. And then Jonah prayed unto the Lord his God out of the fish's belly, and said, I cried by reason of mine affliction unto the Lord, and he had heard me. Out of the belly of hell cried I, and thou heardest my voice. And the Lord spake unto the fish, and it vomited it out Jonah upon dry land. And then this goes on. So then the Lord, after doing this, makes him go and says, listen, I told you to do something, now you're going to do it. So he was merciful. He basically merciful and forgave Jonah, and then he spares Nineveh, the place that he tells Jonah he's going to destroy. Jonah tells him what's going to happen. As you read here, they basically pray for forgiveness, and it's like, oh my goodness, we screwed up, and the Lord forgives them on top of forgiving Jonah. This is a merciful chapter here in the Bible. This is the merciful chapter. I'm going to start calling this in Jonah 3, 1 and 2, 5 and 6, and 8 and 10. And there was just little things in between. I didn't want to read all this, plus time's sake. Jonah 3:1. And the word of the Lord came unto Jonah the second time, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, the great city, and preach unto it the preaching that I bid thee. Basically, I'm destroying you. I don't like you. You're going away. Verse 5. So the people of Nineveh believed God and proclaimed a fast and put on sackcloth, from the greatest of them to the least of them. For the word came unto the king of Nineveh, and he arose from his throne, he laid his robe from him, and covered him with sackcloth, and sat in ashes. Basically, no way. I'm sorry. Please forgive us. They're asking for forgiveness. So this is a good one for forgiveness too. And verse 8, But let man and beast be covered with sackcloth, and cry mightily unto God. Yea, let them turn every one from his evil way, and from the violence that is in their hands. And then in 10, you'll see God is so merciful. Not only did he forgive Jonah, he forgave Nineveh. And God saw their works, that they turned from their evil way, and God repented of all the evil that he said that he would do unto them, and he did it not. There it is. That is the Old Testament, which there's more merciful things that God does throughout the Old Testament, but these were the biggest examples I could find. Let's go on to the New Testament now. See, I changed the color a little bit. There, put a little black and white into it. Let's look at Jesus. And these are blind men sitting on the road. Jesus is walking here, and a lot of them were like, and they were sinners. They said unto him, and he had compassion on them. I think they were sinners, because they say, have mercy on us. So they must have done something wrong. And Jesus shows his compassion to them. This is in Matthew 20:30-34. And it says, "And behold, two blind men sitting by the wayside, when they heard that Jesus passed by, cried out, saying, Have mercy on us, O Lord, thou Son of David. And the multitude rebuked them, basically like, shut up. You don't talk to him. You're not allowed to talk to him, because they should hold their peace. But they cried the more, saying, Have mercy on us, O Lord, thou Son of David. Jesus stood still and called them and said, What will ye that I shall do unto you? Basically, what do you need me to do? And all they ask for a simple, well, it's not a simple request, but they ask for a request. They say unto him, Lord, that our eyes may be opened. So Jesus had compassion, which shows his mercy, compassion on him, and touched their eyes, and immediately their eyes received sight, and they followed him. Jesus did not have to do this. Jesus could have just walked away and said, no, I'm not doing this. But Jesus never did that. Jesus had mercy on these two and said, you know what, they asked for mercy. They stay right there, have mercy on us. So Jesus, his compassion, his mercy, come upon them and let them gain their sight. And again, this one is palsy, which means he can't move. He's paralyzed, basically. He's paralyzed. In Mark 2:3-12, this is another thing of Jesus' mercy. And they came unto him, bringing one sick of palsy, which was born of 4. And when they could not come nigh unto him, for the press, they uncovered the roof where he was. And when they had broken it up, they let down the bed wherein the sick of the palsy lay. Now, this is also tied in faith. This is like a faith. You can use the same exact passage for a faith. I've actually heard it. Herman Moss has used it for in his faith sermons. Herman's a very good preacher. He's used it for his faith sermons, and this is a good one for faith, but I also see it as mercy. When Jesus saw their faith, because it does say faith there, he said unto the sick of the palsy, Son, thy sins be forgiven thee. So basically, this man must have sinned. So he sees their faith, and it's like, man, these guys really, really must believe in me. And he has mercy on him, as he says, thy sins be forgiven thee, which means the only way that God's going to forgive you his sins is by his mercy. But there were certain of the scribes sitting there, reasoning with their hearts, Why doth this man thou speak blasphemies? Who can forgive sins but God only? So you could use this verse for multiple sermons. And immediately, when Jesus perceived in his spirit that they so reasoned within themselves, he said unto them, Why reason ye these things in your hearts? Whether is it easier to say to the sick of the palsy, Thy sins be forgiven thee, or to say, Arise, and take up thy bed and walk? But that ye may know that the Son of Man hath power on earth to forgive sins. He saith to the sick of the palsy, and immediately he arose, took up his bed, went forth before them all, insomuch that they were all amazed and glorified God, saying, We have never seen it on this fashion. They said, Wow, we've never seen this before. But Jesus is saying there, listen, what is easier to do? It is easier for me to forgive sins and let this guy live than to me let him lay sick and have palsy. Now, do people nowadays get born this way? Do people get born with disfigurements? Yes, it happens. This guy lived his whole life that way and was healed. And at the end there, you could see before he died, he was healed. Many people were born with many diseases. That doesn't mean God isn't merciful. As you can tell, this has happened. This sick of palsy, which was born. He had it since he was born, so this stuff has been going on for years. Now, am I saying these people with these type of diseases sinned? No. I'm not saying that at all, and I don't think God is either. There's a reason for everything. I don't know the reason, only God does. So you're going to have to ask him when you pray or talk to him and let him tell you. But in the book of Job, he answers that question. Alright, so in John 8:1-12, I think everybody knows where I'm going with this. This is the woman in adultery. You were supposed to be stoned to death. I'll just read this and let Jesus answer that for himself. Jesus went unto the Mount of Olives, and early in the morning he came again into the temple, and all the people come unto him, And he sat down and taught them. And the scribes and Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they say unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery in the very act. So basically, we caught her right now. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such shall be stoned. But what sayest thou? This they said, tempting him, that they might have to accuse him. But Jesus stooped down and with his finger wrote on the ground, as though he had not heard them. So then when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, He that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her. And again, he stooped down and wrote down. Basically said, okay, well, if you haven't sinned, you're allowed to hit her with a stone. Basically, she sinned, okay, oh well, let's see if any of you have not sinned. And they had heard it, being convicted in their own conscience, went out one by one, beginning at the eldest, even unto the last. And Jesus was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. When Jesus had lifted up himself, he saw none but the woman. Said unto her, Woman, where are those thine accusers? Hath no man condemned thee? She said, No man, Lord. And Jesus said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. Then spake Jesus again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. Mercy. Jesus showed his mercy. In the law, which was still in effect when Jesus was on earth, the new covenant didn't come, which if you watch my other sermon, did not happen until Jesus died on that cross. He still, because God gave him the power to forgive sins, forgave her of her sins, had mercy upon her, and said, Sin no more, and let her walk free. So, this is the end. I'm going to read Psalms 136. This 1 through 15. This is a poem, a prayer that thanks the Lord for his mercy. I think everybody should say this prayer, especially in a sermon like this. And like I said, the pound sign, ignore everything after that. But let's read Psalms 136, 1 through 15. This is just a prayer that I want to say for God, for all of you watching, and including me, for me sitting here. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. Number 2. Oh, give thanks unto God, unto the God of gods, for his mercy endureth forever. Oh, give thanks to the Lord of lords, for his mercy endureth forever. To him who alone doeth great wonders, for his mercy endureth forever. To him that by wisdom made the heavens, for his mercy endureth forever. To him that stretched out the earth above the waters, for his mercy endureth forever. To him that made great lights, for his mercy endureth forever. The sun to rule by day, for his mercy endureth forever. Everything after that ignore, because that's just like the definition type. The moon and stars to rule by night, for his mercy endureth forever. To him that smote Egypt in their firstborn, for his mercy endureth forever. That might not sound like mercy, because he destroyed the firstborn of Egypt, but he had to do something to make the Pharaoh change his mind, to make the Pharaoh let the Israelites go. So I can't answer why he did that. Only God can, and that's who I will leave that definition up to. But leave that answer up to, so you may pray to him and ask him and his answer. I won't ask him. I know what the answer is. It's because he's God, and there's reasons for everything. Number 11. And brought out Israel from among them, for his mercy endureth forever. With a strong hand and with a stretched out arm, for his mercy endureth forever. To him which divided the Red Sea into parts, for his mercy endureth forever. And made Israel to pass through the midst of it, for his mercy endureth forever. But overthrow Pharaoh and his hosts in the Red Sea, for his mercy endureth forever. Basically, mercy to the Israelites, which now with Jesus turns to mercy for all of us around the earth that believe in him, and they're cast down into the blood and cast down into the water. You will too also have the mercy of Jesus. I thank everybody so much for watching this. Please give it a like, give it a thumbs up, share it across every platform, share all my sermons across platforms for somebody that may need it. And remember, Jesus has mercy. Go to your local church. Start reading the Bible at home. Go to your local church. Get into a sermon. Get in good with the church. Make sure you follow them. Stay loyal to Jesus every day. He is a merciful God. Whatever you've done in the past, He will forgive you for. And please give this a thumbs up, a like. Leave your comment down below. Donate to the charity down below. MAP International, please donate to them. And I will see you guys Wednesday for a gaming video. Peace.